I like things which are different, and I like things which are quirky. And in this parcel, I think I've got them both. Hi there everyone, and this parcel here I got from eBay, something I saw and I thought that's nice, and so I made a bid for it, one, and here we have Playcraft. That bit's right, this bit isn't. Inside, foam wrapping, and when I open this up, look at this. Apparently this is called a Decauville, and I believe it used to work in French quarries. It's made by Playcraft or Jouef, under the title Playcraft, and it's an 040, but not only that, it's H09 or 009, depending on which way you're looking at it. So, it even comes with its own driver, supposedly a poor runner, so let's get it on the track and see what happens. Watching my meter. As I push it along, it tends to draw a lot of current, but not moving very well. Maybe trying to run backwards when it should be running forwards. Well, only one thing to do, get it out of the case and see what's going on. So I'm looking for access screws. I see a little bit of green gunge in here. Is that like green blue tack? It feels like it. And can you just listen to the lovely weather we're having outside? Anyway, right. Seem to be a couple of slots. Yep, so let me get my cabinet top removal kit. No, they're not budging. Right, I shall have to investigate this to see how to remove the top. We're used to having chimney screws, but a chimney screw? Okay, and certainly allows the drag gear to away. That's still sticking, so there's still something else to be done. More investigation. I simply twisted the top and out it comes. And here we have mechanism. Quite a big motor. Obviously needing lubrication. So I'm going to try and apply some power across the terminals of the motor, keeping the drive rods out of the way. Let's try and apply a voltage across these poles here. Well, at least the motor is trying to turn. Very sluggish. Right, so maybe just need a good clean up and lubrication. if I can disengage the drive gear, okay. Right, let me have another look. It wasn't easy accessing anything of any import, but I managed to get some oil into the bearing through here and in this side here and in there. I put some oil down the back of this gear and on the axles of the wheels. Give it a couple of turns manually, and now I'm putting in about 4 volts, 5 volts maybe, and it's running nice and sweetly, driving the wheels as you can see. So it obviously just needs a wee bit of clean up and lubrication. On the basis that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. These of course are the brushes. I'll see if they can come out and just check them for length. But I don't really want to dismantle this motor too much. Just put a wee bit of grease onto the gears, and I think I'll try it on the track. And then I'll have to try and clean up the wheels a wee bit. Right, I'm just going to apply power to the wheels themselves, and trying to get there. Yeah, you can see it's working. So this is good. Just get it up and running, and I've actually got on order 2 little trucks, which apparently should go quite nicely with this. Oh, I think once that's up and running, it'll look very nice, very different, and very quirky. Just what I want. I think I've reached the stage where I'm confident that my little Decauville is going to run once I apply it onto the track, but I can't run it with these floppy con rods. So I'm going to start a rebuild. Turning this upside down, I have to first insert the con rods into the cylinder block. That's not a problem. I'll just apply a little bit of oil to the end of the cylinder block, and that will work its way in. And it's so hard to handle everything here. Anyway, that and there, through, and now the same with the second one. Goodness me, switching hands for everything here. And in we go. And that should sit into its groove, held in by the chimney screw through here. But I have to fit the front coupler as well. Coupling is done through a very small pin at the top, so slide that in, screw goes through, and that will hold it together to enable me to test it on the track. Set it up a couple of rollers and apply some power, and it seems to run without any problem. And then changing directions, and there we go. But every other locomotive I have, when I apply power, it goes in the opposite direction to my Decauville. So all my other locomotives going the wrong way except this one, or does this one go in the reverse? My opinion is this goes in reverse. Why? I don't know. I had a quick look at the motor. It doesn't look as if it's been disturbed at any time. I don't see any other way of just gauging it. It probably is, but I'm just going to leave well alone and just bear in mind that it's going in the opposite direction. But it is French, so maybe that's something to do with it. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad. Just very simply strip it down, give it a good bit of clean, and I'll just have to run it and test. When I get a couple of wagons in, I'll try and film that and add that on to the end of the video. But I do have one other issue. Two perhaps. One is the seller did point out that the cab seemed to have suffered a little bit of damage, and if you look closely at the bottom of the pillars, they appear to have been glued, and if you look, there is a forward list to the whole cab. I don't think that detracts from it. I think that's quite nice. The other thing is, I mentioned in the rear coupler there was some green blue tack or green tack, and the seller pointed out that the rear coupler had been, I think he used the word modified to allow coupling, and the reason is that, if I can find it on camera, where are we? The reason is that the little pin used for coupling seemed to have broken, and that was just a little, like a track pin, had been pushed through the coupler, and the green tack is just there to hold it in. So I'm going to put the pin back in, but I'm going to use something a bit more secure, like perhaps some CA. So this is the pin that's going to go in there. Little touch CA, just a drop in there. Take the pin, slide it through there. I maybe should point out that someone's already drilled an exceptionally small hole. That should sit in there. Don't want it to protrude too much, and I'll just leave that to harden. Right, so the Decauville 040, all cleaned, lubricated, pin fitted at the back, and let's do a little test sitting on the rollers. Slowly winding up the power, 2 volts, 3 volts, and she goes without any hesitation. I do have this reservation about going in the opposite direction to all of the other locomotives I have. On the side of the locomotive you'll see the name steatite, which I checked up is a kind of mineral, and this locomotive was designed to run on a small narrow gauge railway, hauling the wagons with this mineral, obviously to be transported elsewhere. And the wagons which I'm going to get apparently are designed on the same wagons they used. They're just little tipper trucks. You often see them in quarries. So I'm looking forward to that running. I'm very pleased with this. Is just running very nicely without any hesitation. Seems a bit noisy, but I can live with that. So going in the opposite direction, there we are. So I'm going to set it up and let it run on my shuttle layout and let it run for a while, and maybe take a few videos of it as it's doing so. So I mentioned my reservations about the polarity of the motor and the fact that the locomotive seems to run in the opposite direction to every other locomotive I've got, which means either this one's right and every other locomotive is wrong, or hopefully, most likely, this is wired incorrectly. So I'm going to have a wee look at the locomotive and see if it's easy enough to reverse the direction of the locomotive so that it goes in the same direction as every other locomotive I've got. I have not come across any documentation anywhere to suggest that the direction that this locomotive is going is in fact the natural direction for it. So I'm going to try and make it conform to everything I've got. Okay. So I'm taking the chimney screw out and releasing the piston assembly, lift the body up, push it back a wee bit, and then I'll just bring the camera a little bit. Whoops, too much. It's held in quite solidly and I haven't seen any fixing screws. The only physical way I can see of holding it in would be through these pillars, one on each side, which seems to house the brush housing. So I shall get a nut spinner, remove these, and see if that brings us any closer to solving the problem. This would appear to be a 5mm nut, so just gently. I have no idea what's going to happen here. There we go. This one's free. It looks like it's quite deep. Right, remove that. Obviously the brush holder, which I kind of expected, and I'll do the same on the other side. Right, now my question is, can I get the motor to lift out by doing that? And it does not seem to be the case. Now if you look underneath, I'm trying to find some way of freeing the undercarriage from the motor, and it doesn't seem to be anything visible. So I might just have to leave this as it is, but I'll just try one other thing and I'll let you know what the outcome. Well, I'm taking this a bit at a time and you're seeing basically what I'm seeing, but I gently prise the motor up and it does slide through these pillars almost like runners, but there's a filter capacitor bridged across that, so I'm just going to unhook one side of that, and that should let the motor lift out. Okay, but before I take it out, there is one very essential task I need to do, and that is I need to mark there so that when I take it out I will remember which way it's in, and then I can turn it upside down. So I'm hoping that this will slide out past those pillars, comes out. Excellent, and it allows me access to the worm screws. Right, so that's the way it was in. This is the way it should go back. So I'll just take the time, clean up this, give them some lubrication, and then we'll put this back in the opposite direction to what it was. To reassemble locomotive back together again, and this is my test. You may see here I've got a diode. This is a gap. Previously this thing would run right over the track right to the end, wouldn't stop. So now it should stop when it gets to this gap. It should start. I'll try the power, and now it's started. So I'm going to reverse the power, and it goes the other way. And that means I can now run it safely on my shuttle, because my shuttle has got one of these at each end, and when I tried my little Decauville on it, it would run straight over and it wouldn't stop when it was supposed to. So I couldn't actually show it running there, because I try and handle the camera, handle the power, handle the switching, and then try and reach out and catch it as it fell off the end. Not anymore. Let's go and put it in the shuttle and see how it works. So I've got a Merck track tester kit wired up to the shuttle. It's on red. When that light turns green, my Decauville should start moving towards me. There it is there, and stops at the gap. There'll be about a minute delay, which I'll edit out, and then the light will turn red. Just try and catch the red light. Just in there, you can see the green light. So when that turns red, this should then go back the way. So, and there it goes. Lovely. And stops at the other end. So I don't know why the locomotive was in that orientation, whether someone else had been working on it previously and just turned it over. I used to do that myself till I learned better, that you think it doesn't really matter, but now of course we're learning. So my locomotives are still all going in the same direction. Nice. Sorry it's out of focus, I'm a bit close. So I've come up to the other end of the shuttle, and it should be changing direction soon, because when it comes up here, it's going to couple onto these two wagons which I found on eBay, and they represent the tipper wagons used with this Decauville. So in a short while the shuttle should switch. I'm hoping that the locomotive will pull away with the wagons in tow. You may remember I've repaired the fixing pin, which is actually a coupling pin, and there it goes. So I've got my lovely little Decauville working smoothly in the right direction with a couple of tipper wagons, and I think that will suffice. Okay, so let's just get this one wrapped up and we'll get it back on the bench for a recap. Well, that doesn't seem too bad. It runs fairly smoothly, a bit noisily, but that's possibly because of the brass gearings. But I do like it. It's a lovely little locomotive, and those little tipper wagons that follow on behind, they make a nice little touch. So there's my little Decauville, my French Decauville called the Steer Tight, made by Jouef. I call it Jouef, it's called Jouef apparently, under the trade name of Playcraft, which apparently they're made for the British market. I've watched a couple of videos on YouTube, and there's one, I think the chap's name is Jago Hazzard, who's got a video called Mr. Decauville's train set, real train set, and it features a wee bit of history about the Decauville locomotive and the railway, and you might find it interesting. I'll try and find a link to it and maybe include it in the description under the video. One other little point I would like to make, and that is I made a mistake near the beginning. I waved this box around and I said this wasn't a real box. Well, I'm wrong. This is the real box. It's a P10 tank loco. It cost 38 and 6 at one time. That's old money. That's just under £2. And this is the box for the locomotive. I need some kind of infill, so I'll try and get, because much as I like it, I just get far too many other bits. Well, I think that kind of wraps up my little French Decauville. I just want to run it a couple more times. And then once I've finished the video, I'll probably put it onto the track and let it run for a little while until I can get it onto eBay. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked that. It's certainly different from normal Graham Farish and so on, and enjoyed it. Seems easy enough to work on. I don't know why I had to reverse the motor to make it run in the same way as everybody else. Does that mean someone else has been trying to get it working at some stage? Who knows? It's hard to tell the history when you get something from eBay. I did relocate the pin for the coupling. It's maybe just a bit too high, because if I try and uncouple, try and couple these again, those couple reasonably well, but when I try and couple up to the locomotive, it tends to stick and I have to give it a really good dunt, and then it looks on. However, I think that's a minor problem and it'll probably wear in over time. So I'm just going to wrap this up and put it all to bed and get ready to do another repair hopefully. So please give me comments and hopefully you'll give me a like. And if you enjoy watching model locomotive repairs, you might want to subscribe. And if you have already subscribed, can I just offer my thanks for your appreciation of my work. I'm hoping that this year in 2024 I'll be able to settle down and get a lot more repairs done. And I've got a number lined up all ready to hit the big screen. Or little screen if you're watching on a tablet. Right then, YouTubers, thank you very much. I hope you take care of yourself and look after each other. But for me, it's sort 6233. I've only one thing to say, and that is bye for now.